Hello. I'm standing here wondering, why is my screen black? It is Tammy, and we got 2 minutes actually before we officially start today's lesson. But I thought I'd come on live, let you get let you get in here with me as well. Say hello. If you are inside the Facebook group, then fantastic. Glad to have you with me in the Conquer Conflict with Confidence and Class group. It's a pleasure to be your host. If you're watching me on YouTube, then you'll want to join us in the Facebook group because that's where all the extra fun happens, and there's tons of resources in there. So we're going to be getting started here in, what time is it now? In 2 minutes, we're going to actually get started with today's lesson, and we're talking about how to create a better work relationship, actually how to design a better work relationship. We're going to take you through a series of activities to help mitigate the negative influences of conflict so that you can minimize conflict and maximize connection, which is something I am passionate about. Now, if you're joining me here, say hello. I am using StreamYard, so it may ask you permission to share your name. I see Marilyn has done so. Hello, Marilyn. Thank you for watching me on YouTube. And we're going to get started here, as I said, in a few minutes. So if you haven't been with me or haven't seen me for a while, my name is Tammy Dunnett, and I am the CEO and founder of Relationship Revolution. And this whole week, we are doing a mini series on how to design a better work relationship. Super excited to bring this to you. Let me know what it's like where you're at. It's beautiful and sunny outside. I almost came live from the backyard, but I thought I'd better come inside because I need my paper here so we can do a little bit of activities. Let me know what it's like where you are. And while we're waiting to get started in 1 more minute, I'm just going to pull this up so I can see the comments on the Facebook page. I am in sunny Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. Thanks for asking. It is beautiful here. There we go. Is that working?
Oh, I am using StreamYard, so
technology, so much fun. All right, now I can see the comments in Facebook. We are set to go. It is 1:59. It's soon to be 2 o'clock. Thank you for joining me, guys. And today is day one, part one of designing a better work relationship. Now, for those who don't know me, I am the founder and CEO of Relationship Revolution, and I am on a mission to change the way relationship is done. That's right. I'm working on helping people develop the skills, the tools, and the strategies so that they can influence their relationships one conversation at a time. Now, some of you may not know this about me, but my history in that I am an ex-target of workplace bullying, and life was anything but peaceful, but I knew that it could be better. I just didn't know how to access the resources to help me get there. So I was begging everybody, and if this has been you, let me know in the comments below. So, hey, Dre. Sorry, I got an itchy nose all of a sudden. Hey, Dre, nice to have you here. So I was in a workplace bully situation for 4 years, and the first 2, I had zero idea I had a bully. I just thought I had a bad boss, which I hear a lot of people say. You know, they're incompetent, they're not trained. We always promote our problems, those kind of things that's come up in the workplace. Truthfully, I didn't know that I had a bully boss. So I was begging everybody, hey, Elizabeth, for help, but I didn't know how to get it, and they didn't know how to give it to me. So it wasn't their fault. But let me know in the chat box. I want to make sure you can hear me, first of all. It sounds like you can based on the comments coming through. No one is saying that they cannot. And we're going to be, okay, I'm supposed to be live every day at 2 o'clock for the next 5 days, but let me just tell you, a whole bunch of stuff just happened in my life, and I may have to modify that a wee bit. So watch your emails if you're registered for the challenge specifically. I will email you with any changes. I just got to spend some time figuring that out as to how I'm going to coordinate everything that just landed on my desk. But I have a plan. I will have a plan, just so you know. And I do have some notes here in front of me so I don't lose track of what I want to share with you today, because we are going to be doing some important work today, foundational work, to move into the next stages as I share with you a little bit more about the PAUSE framework, the caring conversation framework to have in conversations over the next week, and how you can use that in your relationships. Now, the first 4 days of this week, we're going to do mini sessions like this. And then on the last day, on Friday, I always like to bring everyone together in a Zoom room so I can see you, interact with you, answer your questions, and really tie everything together to make sure that you have what you need going forward. So you'll want to watch for that as well in your email. But in the chat box, let me know, what does a better workplace mean to you? Because I've asked this question a lot lately, and I wanted to really understand what it is people wanted. And I know it's going to be unique for you. So let me know in the chat box what that is for you. What I'm hearing from some people, what they're worried about is if they don't get that better relationship, is that the relationship is going to break down. Or they're going to have to leave their job that they absolutely love, but they just can't tolerate this person anymore. Or perhaps you're worried about losing clients and supporters and income because this relationship is really starting to have far-reaching effects. Let me know what better would look like for you in these circumstances. The other thing I'm hearing from people is the cost, the emotional cost that it's taking on them. The fact that when they have dinner with their family at night, all they can do is rehash the day's events because they haven't settled them. There haven't been a resolution. And it starts to permeate through all the different areas of our lives to the point where you're not sleeping well. You're making more errors. You're a bit more anxious and tense, and you're not thinking about your safety anymore about going to work. You're thinking about how the hell do I get out of that work, right? I've been there. I suffered with anxiety and panic and agoraphobia, was afraid to leave my home. So I totally resonate with some of the things that people are sharing with me. And I don't want you to fall into that trap where you're worried about losing credibility and losing respect because of this particular workplace. We're going to help you with some tools in that. Hey, Stephanie, so happy to have you be part of this too. And she says, better equals clear communication, realistic expectations, and they should be communicated absolutely. Tools to be confident, no drama, and no passive-aggressive behaviors. Oh, there's more. She's got a good definition going on. Oh, it's just a period. Hey, Julie, good to have you here too. I have a high-functioning team that communicates well, respects each other, and helps one another to be successful. Fantastic. And Marilyn says, respect, ... decency. Oh, I'd love to know more about that, Marilyn. There sounds like there's a story there. So I wanted to ask, does this resonate with you? And it does. A little tongue-tied. Let me take a water. It does seem to be resonating with you. What I want to know next is, what have the costs been to you? What have you been missing out on? Let me know in the chat box. I want to hear from you. What is it you've had to sacrifice? Who is it you're not getting to be because of this relationship in the workplace that is causing stress and strain? And have you considered leaving? Have you considered just walking away from the job that you fell in love with, that you thought was going to be your forever job? I've been there, I've done it, only to realize that maybe there would have been something we could have done earlier. We could have saved this. Andrea says, I shy away from conflict and avoid it like the plague. Andrea, we're going to give you some tools this week, my friend. Elizabeth says, the cost has been my sanity and my peaceful mind. And that's not unlike a lot of the people that I've talked to. And I'm sorry to hear that. And I want to help you out this week, okay? Now, here's the next thing, because we tend to stay in these places for a lot of different reasons. Context, maybe there isn't another job, we can't leave. We're too close to retirement, we're looking at pension. Maybe it's about seniority and income and vacation. And I've heard people stay in jobs because they get, a significant amount of vacation a year, but for the rest of the year, they're struggling. And I don't think that's not a payoff for me. For the extra vacation a year to be like in pain and stress for 11 months of the year, it's not a payoff for me. But people choose that, and that's your right to choose that. So I want to know, what do you say to yourself that makes it okay to be in these workplaces? Have you ever caught yourself saying, it's not my job, management is supposed to deal with it, so I'll just keep my head down and not worry about it and just come to work, do my job, and go home? Have you ever heard yourself say, why bother? Nothing ever changes anyways. Or, they don't listen to me. I've tried before and they don't listen to me. What is it that you say to yourself that is almost facilitating that this less than ideal relationship is allowed to continue to grow in this environment? You can share that in the chat as well. So Julie, I've lost health and well-being. I've had a hard time trusting people and relying on them in a team environment, and lost income. These are significant factors as a result of being in a workplace where you don't have that safety and that comfort. I quickly question myself. Yeah. So some of these things that we share and tell ourselves in order to make it through, they're part of our self-limiting beliefs, and they block us actually from, let me find my felt marker. They block us from, so you've kind of given me a definition of what better is. And we've looked at what some of those costs are. And the question is, why do we stay? Or why do we allow it to continue to fester this way? Or how has it manifested in my life to this point? There is something in there that we're going to be digging through this week. And I want to help you figure out some of those pieces. But before we can do that, in the past, I've lost confidence and just been fearful. Yeah, we're talking about fear tomorrow, actually. We're going to talk about fear, Elizabeth. So we have these old beliefs. So you guys all shared with me what a better workplace would be. I just want to come back out to the beginning here. What was a better workplace? Clear communication. Awesome. Let's write this down. You may not be able to see this. It's probably too small, is it? Oh, no, it looks okay there. Okay, clear communication. We've got a high-functioning team that communicates well and respects. So we have respect. Now, respect is a big umbrella term. We're going to actually want to break that down. So if respect is how you're defining it, really get down into the nitty-gritty and break down that word. What does respect look like? Is it about tone of voice, time of meetings, how we arrive at work, when we arrive at work? Really get into what respect means. No drama. I should have wrote this down before. Sorry, guys. Okay, and then we get into some of the costs, right? So it's been my sanity. Oh my gosh, these are massive costs. Peace of mind. Questioning competence. I don't think I can find another job. So this is some of the reasons why we stay there. Query another job. And that's a legitimate, I mean, there's no judgment there. This is some of the realities in which people face, is that I don't know if there's going to be something available in my area that pays me the same, that affords me the same lifestyle. That is a factor, right? Marilyn says there's no checks and balances. You can palpate the toxicity in the environment. It's sickening. Marilyn, we need to talk, my friend. Okay. In the past, I stayed because I had not yet found another job. I am the only earner in the household, right? And these are reasons why people stay, because you do have a mortgage, health insurance, bills to pay. It's exactly some of the things that people are trying to overcome. And then Stephanie says going overboard, trying to work enough hours and do enough and be enough. Yes, right? Okay. So we're going to look at some of the old beliefs around why we stay, those limiting beliefs that we've put upon ourselves, maybe within the relationship, like it's somebody else's job. Why bother? Nothing ever changes. I've tried before. Nobody listens to me. Those kind of self-limiting beliefs. Because when we say it's not my job, and I hear this a lot too, people will share with me, that's management's job to tell them to not be a jerk, essentially. I have a different belief that if we haven't tried to have that conversation ourselves at the lowest level, and if it's safe to do so, like there's no physical harm, let me put that caveat in there, there's no risk of physical harm, then we have a responsibility to bring that issue forward. And the problem is no one teaches us how. And that's why I became so passionate about helping people, is because nobody taught me how. And I ended up getting really, really sick to the point that you wouldn't recognize me today. You wouldn't have recognized me then either. I didn't recognize myself. So we want to start looking at the words that we're sharing and saying to ourselves and start to shift them. So if it's not my job, what else could that become? How else could we say that? Because we're looking to find our power in a moment where we've become powerless as a result of our words. So maybe it's, I have an opportunity to share an observation, or I have a voice and I know I can use it. I just need to know what to say first, as opposed to, it's not my job, and absolutely closing that door to the possibility that you can influence a change in your life, in your relationship, in your workplace. I am a big believer in opening up as many doors as possible and never taking no unless I got the person who actually can say no. And it starts with me. It starts with me. if you've tried before and nothing has changed, how can we shift that limiting belief? Because that's keeping us stuck. It becomes our truth that says, don't bother. Nothing will change. Those are like absolute words. And I can tell you, if I were to ask you out of a number from 0 to 100, let me think of an example really quick here. If you were invited to go out with somebody that you didn't like, you really didn't care for them, but they invited you out 100 times, how many times would you go? Many people would say never, absolutely never. I would never go out with them. But the context and the circumstances of your lives might become such that you're like, this is the only person asking me out. I think I better go for coffee. Or, God, I'm lonely enough. I'll just go listen to them for another hour. And maybe 1 out of 99, you're going to go. So nevers and nothings and always, those absolute statements are ones to watch out for, to see if you're limiting yourself and keeping yourself stuck. So we want to be, how can I shift this? I've tried everything. Nothing changes. I've tried everything. That's not right. They're not true statements. We need to be able to challenge those and say, maybe I haven't tried everything yet. Just adding the word yet opens up a door to possibility to search for something new and another strategy. Why bother? Nobody ever listens to me. Maybe we can ask ourselves, what data am I missing? Who else can I bring into this conversation? Do you feel how expansive that becomes all of a sudden when you say, why bother? They never listen to me. Never again is one of those words to watch for. Those self-limiting beliefs will trip you up and keep you stuck without even really being, without us even being able to notice it. Oh, no worries, Julie. My internet sometimes gets unstable too. Self-limiting belief, I will be perceived as a boat rocker, right? I will be perceived as a boat rocker. You don't give them the opportunity to perceive you as anything other. And then having that own self-limiting belief, and I appreciate that you shared that, having that own self-limiting belief, you approach it already with this mindset that you're going to be a boat rocker, and it's in your nonverbals. It's in everything that you do when you have that conversation. Okay, Marilyn's looking for a new way to exit. Yeah. So these next 5 days, we're going to be challenging you on this side of the map. Get clear on what better is for you. Define what respect is. Define what sanity is. You know, these words that you're looking for. What is peace of mind for you? What does no drama mean? What does clear communication mean? I want to challenge you to get really crystal clear on what does that look like for you so that you know where you're going. And to help you, we're going to do a visualization exercise here right away. But before we do that, I just want you to commit to playing full out with me. I mean, I know this is free. You can come and go as you want, and your commitment may or may not be strong to this resolution that you're looking for, but I want you to play as if you have paid $10,000 to be with me today. Invest 100% your time, your energy, get rid of the distractions, play full out, show up. I mean, just the fact that you're here tells me that you're hungry, and that's the number one indicator for success in creating change. So I know that you want this information because you're here with me today. And at the end of this time, at the end of this 5-part mini-series, won't be the end. It's going to be a beginning. And that's what excites me about showing up every day for you guys. So if you're ready, give me a yes in the chat box. Let me know that you're excited and you want to get moving on this process. Let's see. Light it up, peeps. Hello, Mustafa. I hope I said that correctly. Elizabeth, I love that, Elizabeth. The fact that you guys can be in tune with where your self-limiting beliefs are, I'm not worthy for a better job. I am not worthy is massive. In fact, I just had a personal breakthrough this week with a coach. Not enough time to talk about this session, but I'll come back on a live one day and we will do that. So today and every day, we're going to stretch, not physically stretch. We're going to stretch our minds. We're going to stretch our body. We're going to get into motion. And I call it the uncomfortable stretch zone, the uncomfortable growth zone. So if you've already downloaded your worksheet, you may have seen that ahead of time, which is fine. In order to rewire our brain, we need to do things a little differently. We need to think differently and act differently. So it's meant to be a little uncomfortable, but not to the point that it causes you anxiety and fear. If it causes you anxiety and fear, then that's too big of a gap, too big of a leap, and we need to knock it down to another level. The change that you will see as a result of doing these uncomfortable growth activities over this week with me, they may not be instant, but for some of you, they can be. But the thing is, when we get into action and we get into momentum, we talk about the fastest way to change the mind is through the body, is through doing. Then we get that synergistic thing happening in our lives, and the excitement carries us towards our goalposts. So what we're going to talk about today here is the fact that relationships and communication go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. And you can, I invite you to challenge me on that statement. I'll be so bold to say you cannot have one without the other. It doesn't matter if you're a parent, if you're in internet sales, if you work at home alone, if you are in business, you rely on communication. Written, text, verbal, nonverbal, face-to-face. All of that is related to relationships. And everything we do revolves around it. Do you agree with this statement? In order to be successful, our success is based on how we work with others. We need to communicate to be successful. Do you agree with that? Let me know. Yes, yep. Yeah. Here's the kicker. In every one of those relationships that we have, our successful ones, our non-successful ones, and the ones that are giving us trouble right now, there is one common denominator. That's us. And the person we deal with the most is us. So where we have our power and where we get to step in is with us, and we can influence others by us showing up differently. So to design a better work relationship, we have to recognize two things. One, that there's things we don't know. There's things I don't know. There's a ton of stuff I don't know. I learn every day. And two is that we have blind spots. So it's not just about having a knowledge gap, but it's about things that maybe we are already doing and that we think we know to be true that are actually blind spots that could be causing us some grief or tension and escalating the conflict in our relationships. And we all have them. We all have blind spots. I tend to think I know a little bit more than I do sometimes. That's my blind spot. And I love it when people can share with me something new. Those blind spots might actually be the very thing that's holding us back. And wouldn't it be great if we can get awareness on that, shine a light, and find those blind spots and see what's in them? We can do that. There's a few different ways in which we can do that for sure. We can do it self-reflecting, but we can also get reflection and feedback from others. We can't change something, though, if we can't become aware of it. And that's why it's so important for us to recognize that we don't know everything and that we do have blind spots that we can illuminate. These are the starting points for growth. To realize that you haven't finished learning. So many times people come out of school, whether it's high school, college, university, or a specialty training, your organization has sent you on a course and you come back and we think that we're finished learning because the course is done, we have our certificate. But the truth is, that's just the beginning of learning. I remember when I came out of nursing school into the hospital, I thought I knew it all. I thought that's what school was preparing us for. I quickly realized that was the entry level and there was so much more to learn, and I continued to learn, and I graduated nursing in 2006. So there's a lot to learn, and we need to be open to those possibilities. Now, obviously, because you're here, I think you're open to that idea. And sometimes we don't realize the negative narratives that we're telling ourselves that are keeping us in a relationship that's not better by definition, because we won't let it be better because we have this container in which we hold that relationship in that is keeping it stuck. So we're going to start with a quick visualization. I encourage you to close your eyes with me as we do this. I want you to just take a breath. I need to take a breath. Take a few inhales and exhales and just settle in to where you are. And imagine you walk into this workplace today, tomorrow, whenever it is you're going back next. And as you walk in the front doors, there's no fear, there's no anxiety. Your shoulders are high, your head is up, your smile is on, and you are excited to see the people that you're going to interact with on a day-to-day basis. You feel valued and cherished for the things that you bring and the ideas that you have. and the work that you're able to complete. You have this shared responsibilities, these teams that are working synergistically. And there's, if there's a gap, someone is there to fill it and pick it up. And you just collectively get everything done that you need to get done without questions, without fighting, without feeling as if you have to explain things 100 times. Just imagine this. And I want you to notice who's there with you. What do you hear? What do you see? What do you smell? What can you touch? Take in all of the senses. Is there laughter? Is there people leaving you alone so you can get your work done? Are people figuring out their own shit and not coming to you? Or are people coming to you because you are a subject matter expert and they know that you've been there for so long that you're going to have the answer that gets them moving faster? And I want you to notice how you're feeling in this moment. And I'm going to ask you in a few moments to share some of this stuff, but just notice, drop into the feeling that you're having right now as you've walked into the front doors of this workplace that is better and designed by you. What does that feel like? And I don't know about you, but this feels good for me right now. I feel excited. I feel joyful. I feel like I can contribute. I'm doing my best work in this environment. I feel safe. I feel like I can tell a joke and people won't judge me. I feel like I can share an idea and it won't be beaten down, but celebrated. This feels really good. And in this vision, what becomes possible for you now? Who do you get to be that you haven't been able to be before? What sides of you do you get to feel like you can now all of a sudden just show and incorporate into the being that you are, that you haven't been able to? You've been protecting these pieces of you for so long. Notice how your body is feeling. The shoulders are dropping. The breath is slowing. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to me. And just share with me in the chat box, what is it that you were able to see? What was different? What got you excited about that vision? Because I will share with you, if you cannot envision it, it cannot come to reality. The fastest way to find out what your goals are is to just sit down and get calm and still and just envision what it is you want. Now, I'm not saying we can control all those external pieces, but if you can envision it, then this is your path starting to illuminate for you. And I 100% wholeheartedly believe in this, because I've done it many times and I work with my clients like this too. But what became possible for you in that vision? Drop it in the chat. Share what that was worth to you. Maybe some of the feelings you were having. And you can use this exercise if ever you're having a day and a moment where it's just chaos. It feels overwhelming. It feels like there's no control in your life. Sneak off. Take 5 minutes. That didn't even take that long. Just take 5 minutes and ask yourself these questions and change how you feel. Bring it back to you. I felt relaxed and able to complete my work without unnecessary interruptions. I felt relaxed too. I love this exercise so much. This is the power of putting your body in motion, right? It feels great. Yes, it does. And so when you have these moments of chaos, when it doesn't feel like the relationship is better, but it feels like things are getting bitter, sneak away and just do this for 5 minutes and come back in and go, okay, now I want to walk into this building again. Can I reset this? Can I revisit this? Can we revise how this is going to go down? Can I look at my old limiting beliefs about how I feel stuck and just look at how we went from feeling limited and stuck a few minutes ago into how we could feel expansive and in control and valued. So this is an exercise you can do when you feel like that. Let me just see if there's anything else here. Yes, that's good. Okay, so there's 3 core beliefs you need to have. Number 1 is, and we've talked about this before, but I always like to bring this back. The 3 core beliefs are, let me grab my notes, It's possible. We just did a vision exercise. And here's what I know about our vision. That's your future self already telling you it is done. You sit quietly with that vision for 5 minutes, create it and manifest it, say it is done, put it to the universe, and just step into it. And live through that vision, because your future self is the one that's there to tell you, follow me. This is possible. Just keep following me. Listen to my voice and come to me. Okay? That might seem a little woo-woo for some of you, and that's okay. I have seen it manifest in my own life, and I share this strategy with you. And if it seems too expansive, too scary, that vision you had, then just come back to a smaller part of it where it felt really good and comfortable and safe. When I went through my bullying experience, I was literally trapped in my house. I didn't look at my cell phone. I was afraid to open my emails because my bully was always on there sending me messages, even though I was at home on stress leave, we call it in Canada. And so I was given a note from the doctor to be home away from my bully, and yet she was still pervasively in my house, right? I didn't leave my house. I was afraid to leave it because she could be there. That's how bad I got. I didn't know how to get to better, but I knew better existed because I could still visualize that I can get back there. I didn't know how, but I just knew I could. And that was the evidence I needed in order to start going out on a walk again, just on my block. That's it. Just go outside for a little bit, expose yourself, recognize the harm is not there. And then I had to continue to build on that. The second thing we need to know is that I will find it, I will achieve it, I will get there. This is the desire and the actions that you're going to need to take to move forward. So when I talked about going to nursing school as an example, you've all probably signed up for education at some level. You didn't know what you're getting into. I went to nursing school, signed me up for 4 years. I know at the end I'm going to be a nurse, but all that stuff in the middle, I have zero idea what I'm going to have to learn, study, do, poke, prod people, like all the things I needed to learn to become a nurse. I had no idea, but I knew the vision. And that's the same thing as this. I knew the vision of what my better self would be and my better relationship would be. And the path you just go. It just starts to come for you. Same thing when I had to speak up to my boss for the very first time. I had a boss who yelled at me in front of a room full of people. I didn't know what to do, so I left. I went home. And then I'm like, okay, I need to speak up to him. And even though I crafted a plan, once I got there and the moment hit, I didn't know if I was going to remember what I had to say, if it was going to come out the way I wanted it to come out. But I did it. I just knew I had to do it because the vision was there on the other side that I already spoke up to him and said, no, you can't treat me this way. And so committing, putting my body in motion. And then the third one is that it is worth it. We're going to talk tomorrow a little bit about the what's in it for me factor, and it is worth it is a big foundational piece of that. This is your gut check. This is your value check. This is you saying that, okay, I just saw that vision and I want that and I'm going to get that. I'm not going to settle for anything more because it is worth it for me to move there. I will share with you that you can be uncomfortable staying where you are, in a relationship where you struggle, in a workplace where you feel like you're not valued, you're not important, you're being micromanaged, you're being watched. You can stay there. You can stay in that uncomfortable position. It's familiar, and a lot of people choose to stay there because it can be somewhat predictable, but it doesn't feel good. You can also choose to be uncomfortable and follow that voice, your vision. Follow that voice. That voice is telling you there's a better place. You get to choose which uncomfort you pick, but it's going to be uncomfortable either way. I personally want to choose move towards the voice, and I hope that you can do that. All right. So if you don't create your vision, guess what? Somebody else will. Somebody else will. They'll create the rules. They'll create the framework. They'll create the system, the plan, the process, and how things are going to go down if you're not willing to step in and create your own vision. And I can promise you, you won't like it. You won't enjoy their vision because it doesn't incorporate your ideas, right? So think back to when you had a limiting belief. What do you have to change in those limiting beliefs? What do you have to believe now in order to step into that vision and towards the goal? You know, if we go back to some of those limiting beliefs that were shared, is that I'm not worth it. Wow. That's heavy. I'm not worth it. When you just had that vision where you felt peaceful and relaxed and calm and valued, what do you need to change in your limiting belief to get there? That's going to be one of your tasks today, is to really sit with these old beliefs and shift them to new beliefs, because we need to create new pathways in the brain. Right? So in terms of creating a better workplace, we need to understand where we are now and what we think is our situation, and put it in the container in which it belongs. And we're exposing it, and we're going to explore it through our belief systems and our thoughts, and trying to now shift from that towards our vision. And what belief do you have to have in order to get to your vision? That is part of your activity today. But I'm going to ramp it up one more degree for you. For some of you, it might feel like 100 degrees, but one more degree for you. In your worksheet, I have that uncomfortable growth activity for today. And that activity specifically has you not only writing it out on paper. I think there's great power when it comes to pen and paper. I write out a ton of stuff. That's one way to get it out to the universe. But I also am asking you now to go into the Facebook group live and share it. This is now verbalizing it out to the universe, declaring what your old belief is, what your new belief is, and talking about that in the Facebook group. So if you haven't been in there yet, Conquer Conflict with Confidence in Class is the Facebook group. Hop in there and challenge yourself to step into that vision. Follow the voice. Follow the voice. Let me just come back to the comments. If there's any questions, please put them in there. I'm just going to check this out, because I'm coming live into both my Nurse Minder and my other Tammy Dennett Facebook or YouTube, where I do all the relationship stuff and transitioning it all to there. And of course in our Facebook group. Thanks for putting this on. I have to go back to work. Thanks, Joan, for watching us. Yes. Oh my gosh, looking back at some of your visions. Okay. Oh, someone's asking me about palpating the abdomen. This is not an abdomen palpation one. We're talking about relationships today. I can help you out in another Nurse Minder video there. People are so passionate about learning and sharing knowledge, empowering others around them. Yes, absolutely, Marilyn. My whole goal and mission in life is to help you be a better person so you do not end up where I ended up. That's it. All right, my friends, today we covered self-limiting beliefs. I wanted to know what it was costing you. What are you giving up? What are you sacrificing? Who do you not get to be, because this is the limiting belief that is dominating your thought about how to have a better work relationship. And then we had a vision activity where we could start to visualize what is different. Who do I get to be and create and have? And, you know, how do I get to manifest this and move towards it? So we're going to shift from an old belief to a new belief system, right? So that's your challenge today. We're shifting the mind. We're going to start creating some new neural pathways so that we're going to stay on that highway for the next 5 days together. And then with that, we're going to start to shine lights on these blind spots. Never, always, should, all these fallacies that keep us trapped, so that we can get towards our goal. Knowing that the 3 things we have to have are that it's possible. If you envisioned it, it is possible. That I will get there. If you want it, you will find a way. We're going to talk about that tomorrow a little bit more, and that it is worth it. You can be uncomfortable in either pathway. You get to choose which pathway you follow. Okay, so tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I will be back. We're going to talk about the next lesson regarding motivation and why it doesn't always work for us. And of course, I have a different activity for tomorrow where we're going to start to look at your relationships specifically. Thanks for joining us. If there's any other questions, I'll just stay here for a minute to check in on that. I'm going to check on Facebook here. It's a lot that we did today, so I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you were registered, check your email. Your worksheet is there with a few guiding questions to help you put this into pen and paper. And if you haven't registered, you can go to relationshiprevolution.ca/better. That's where you can register if you want to get the worksheets. Relationshiprevolution.ca/better. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow at 2. And yeah, I'm hoping, as I mentioned earlier, I've got a few things that popped onto my desk for this week that I may have to shift up some of the times, but I'll let you know in your emails. Take care, guys.